Hello and welcome. This is Michelle with PaperStampInk. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today I'm going to share with you one of my favorite craft fair ideas for Post-it note holders. These are so simple and easy to do, and they're a big hit in my craft fairs every year. Make sure you stay tuned to the end of this video for pricing and packaging information for craft fairs. If you haven't already done so, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel by hitting that red button down below and ring the bell. And if you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up and share with your friends. So I'm going to run through the paper pad. It's called Storyteller, and this has some gorgeous raised elements on some of the pages, and some of them have just the shine. Others have glitter on these first few pages, which are all single-sided papers. And then the end of the paper pad is double-sided papers. So you get a little bit of both in here, and I'll put a link to that pad below if you want to check it out. So most of this video I have sped up just to keep it a little bit shorter for you guys, but this is the Post-it note holder that we're going to make, and I'm just going to share with you, I already made 4 of these, and I've got 4 different designs, so you can leave them plain. I put some circle images on them, some I put a little flag banner, so let me know which one's your favorite. What do you like? I think any of them will be just fine. I like to have a variety of things for my craft fairs, and everybody likes something a little different. When I am doing these in bulk, I do like to do several at a time in the same color palette. So I will pick out for these the pattern paper, the solid cardstock, the sentiments, I'll do all my sentiments actually at the end usually, but I'll do all my punching at one time. So I'm using these bright pink Post-it notes, and I'll link some Post-its I found below. For these measurements that I'm using, you are going to want ones that are 100 sheets. So whether those are Post-it notes or sticky notes or some other brand, just make sure there's a lot of variety. So I'm going to use 2 sheets of cardstock because we're going to make 6 of these this time, and 1 sheet of 12 by 12, and not even going to use all of that 12 by 12. So I'm taking my 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper, and I'm scoring on the 8.5 inch side at 2 7/8, 3 3/8, 6.5, and 7 inches. So doing all my scoring ahead of time helps me to mass produce these much faster, because then I don't have to score each of those individual ones, and I will get 3 out of each sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I apologize, I got my trimmer a little bit off the camera up there, but I am cutting these at 3 1/8. So the Post-it holders are 3 inches wide, and I just want them just a tad bit wider so that the paper doesn't stick out from the sides. But I find if I make it too wide, then it's easy for the paper to kind of get damaged. So I'm cutting these strips 2 7/8 inch wide, and then I'm going to cut them down. I'm going to get out of each of these strips, I'm going to get 3 pieces that are 2 5/8 inches tall, and 3 pieces that are 1 1/4 inch tall. Now, if you have double-sided paper, you could flip it over and put one pattern on the top and one on the bottom, or you could mix and match your pattern papers. I just went for simplicity on this and a more uniform look. You are going to want to think about your pattern paper, though, that you don't want something with a huge pattern, because these are fairly small pieces of paper, and you're going to lose any of that beauty of the pattern if you have too large of a pattern on it. So we'll go ahead and take all of these pieces and get them together, and I'm going to use my corner chomper. This is awesome for doing craft fair projects because I can just chomp all of those corners, round them off all at the same time. I'm using the 1/4 inch side. I think that little bit of rounding just adds a little something to it. So one of the big things when getting ready for craft fairs is production line assembly. So usually I'll do even more than this at one time. I do all of my cutting, and then I'll do like all of my adhesive work that I'm doing here to get all those strips on the back of pads. And I'm using score tape here. I like it as it's a little bit stronger tape, and I do like to put 3 pieces there just to make sure it's got a good hold on those. So be thinking about doing your steps all at one time. Doing 6 of these without the video sped up took me about 15 minutes, I believe. So not too bad on timing there, but just think about how quickly you could go through them if you had a bunch of them all amassed at one time. So I am hoping that I'll be able to participate in craft fairs. In my part of the country, as most parts of the country in the United States here right now, craft fairs are either not being held or they're not very well attended. The population that's attending is down significantly. So I traditionally only do them in the fall, getting ready for the Christmas season. And I know these are not Christmas themed. I will have some Christmas themed ones, but I find that people are buying for their friends and they don't just want all Christmas stuff. They're looking and going, what kind of pattern would my coworker like? And these little post-it note holders they're just a hot seller at my craft fairs. They are priced at a very economical price point, and so it makes it simple for people to just pick up a bunch of them. And I always like to do pricing on my items where you get a discount when you buy multiples of something. So that's always attractive as well. So I'm just going to go and do all of my scoring, and you could go ahead and put these down and reinforce your folds after you put all of these pads in. It's kind of up to you. Do make sure that you pay attention which direction you're putting those pads in, though. You don't want them upside down when somebody opens them up. And hey, anybody always likes Post-its, right? This is a good time of year to be looking for Post-its too. Like I said, I'll put a couple links down below, some that I found that were good quality but very economical still. In general can find them for $1 or less, but if I can find things on sale and I can get them more in the 60-cent range, then that would be my preference. And again, that's for the 100 sheet Post-its. You can definitely find them less expensively for the smaller pads, and you could do that and as well and just adjust the measurements for this. You just have that area in the fold would need to be a little bit smaller just to make it sit appropriately. So it's totally up to you, but I find this is a good size, and it still feels like a decent gift for people when they're giving them, as opposed to the really small pads. I do some mini Post-it note holders, and I'll put a link to those below, or actually up above. I'll put a link, and if you want to check that video out. So these little Velcro dots I get from the Dollar Tree, and very easy to put these together. They're very economical. So those I find if I fold them and make sure I put them together first, then I don't have to worry about lining up my top and bottom piece when I'm trying to put them on there. And so again, doing everything assembly line. That's what we're all about. If you're hearing some noise in the background here, it just got a little thunderstorm came in and it is pouring down. The pens I'm using are the Papermate Inkjoy mini ballpoint pens, and they come in a variety of colors in the package, so I just kind of find one that matches. And the bag I'm using is a 4 5/8 by 5 3/4 inch. They're the same pieces that I use to package my cards, and I'm just going to shimmy that pin down into the bottom, and then I'll place my item in there. And I always put the seal to the back side so that I can flip that over and kind of make this a shorter bag. I like to use this size for as many things as I can. Just it's easier than having a ton of different sizes of bags around and trying to go which one's going to fit best. So I will go back and put my sticker on the back in case when people get home they find that they're wanting some items for other friends. They maybe thought of somebody else they needed, or they want to check and find out if I'm going to be at another craft fair coming up. I do leave that information with them in the bags when they come, but sometimes that information gets separated. So pricing, I am going to price these at $3 a piece, or 2 for $5. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and until we meet again, make sure you grab your paper, stamp, and ink and do something creative.